Hello and welcome to another review. This is a big one for sure. It definitely put a lot of time to get through this itself, all the way from the start to the very end. We did around 7 total streams, and it was definitely a blast to play this. So, Indiana Jones, is it worth it? Is it worth it, or is it just all hype? I have a sore throat, so I'm going to try and do this as not as quickly as possible, but I'll try not to jibber jabber on too much. So, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. I've got a good page of notes, but we're going to review this in the same way that we do with every other review to make it as fair as possible. So firstly, thank you so much for supporting me throughout the stream, and thank you for watching this video. So let's crack on. The very first thing that we like to look at is the choice of music used, audio, effects, and voice acting. The game hits this so well. The music in this game is absolutely phenomenal. It truly is. If you're a fan of the movies in any way, shape, or form, this is going to give you that vibe throughout the entire playthrough. The voice acting is so bloody good. It truly hits it right 10 out of 10 for me. It really does a phenomenal job. So I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm not going to, that's it. The audio effects from the guns, the explosions, the whip, the voice acting, just absolutely everything is so well polished and so well done. I did experience some audio reverbing with the whip in the early few streams, and then in the mid streams as well. Because I have a headset on, I can actually hear it. I heard it so well. But the whip had a reverb effect where you can hear more than one version of the whip going out at once and cracking. So it sounds like it's more than one whip. But I'm pretty sure that they're just going to roll down an audio patch, get that repaired, and bish bash bosh, done. Graphics, texturing, and weather effects. We can talk about weather effects in this game. Massive fan of it myself, and the fact that you do get to explore different countries around the world. This game looks absolutely stunning. Now, we didn't have the option to trigger frames per second over quality like most games nowadays do, where you can actually just toggle which one that you prefer, either 60 FPS or the game looking close to 4K or above. But this game looked absolutely stunning in every area of the world that you get to go to. Even when you explore the tombs and you go underground, the character model design, I cannot fault how the game looks. It is absolutely top tier beautiful. But we did notice quite a lot of flickering graphics and texture flickers in every part of the game itself. It wasn't just a one-off thing. We noticed it quite a bit. And again, that is also something that they can simply roll down a patch, repair it, fix it, whatever, and then hopefully we won't ever see that sort of an issue again. So the weather effects were stunning. How the sceneries looked, the ambience looked, the rain, the thunder, everything. Again, can't fault it whatsoever, but they do need to repair the flickering. That's the only thing that they really need to do around the graphical side of things. In terms of glitches and bugs, we did experience a soft lock where Gina, the female character that came along with Indy in most of his adventures, she didn't start a dialogue that she was supposed to do, which triggered the next part of the area that we were in. So I actually had to push her. I physically pushed her character from one area to another in order to get her to the destination that she needed to go so she could start the dialogue. I went to Reddit. I went to see if other people had experienced this sort of bug, and it is a known bug. So if you ever encounter this issue, Bethesda have already said you can just roll back your save. We tried that, and it still bugged out on us. So what we ended up doing was using Indiana Jones as like a pushing magnet to push her to where she needed to go, and then when she actually got to that destination, the dialogue triggered straight away, and then we actually could continue the game at that point. But that's not a good thing at all. The fact that even happened is bad. So that's something that's going to impact the review score, of course, but they are aware of it, and they are patching things and getting stuff like that polished out. So please get it done as fast as possible, because I wouldn't want that to discourage new people playing the game, thinking that something's not right or broken, and then just not playing it from that point onwards. The character model designs, again, I've already mentioned, they looked absolutely superb. But I do have to point out that they do use the same character models within the enemies and within certain characters that are around way too often, and it becomes way too noticeable. We definitely beat up the same guy and his brother and his twin and his triplet and his quadruplet multiple times. And we found it funny in one of the levels, one of the corpses was basically copied and pasted around the entire level. It made us laugh because we started counting and we got to double digits. I understand that it's probably very, very, very difficult to have a large variety of enemies, especially when they're human models. You have to create a different model every single time, but I think they do need to add a little bit more just so it adds to the variety a little bit better, just so you don't notice it as much. But that's again, that just might be me nitpicking, but it became noticeable way too often. That's all I'm saying. The gameplay and mechanics. The gameplay is a first person, so it's not, the norm with games like this. Usually when you're playing Tomb Raider, you see Lara Croft. Usually when you're playing Uncharted, you see Drake. But while you're playing as Indiana Jones, 95% of the time, when he's not interacting with puzzles and stuff, it is a first-person experience where you get to use guns and you can use his famous whip. And it plays very, 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 very well. The gun mechanics are really good, like I said. If I was to nitpick, though, I really hate the fact that you can't pick up ammo off of the guns that are lying around. You have to throw your gun or put your gun on the floor and pick up another weapon. That was a massive pet peeve for me, and it got very fucking annoying. Your character also drops what they're holding a lot of the time when they have to interact with something or crawl through narrow passageways, and that just got really annoying real quickly, because I would like to, I pick up a shotgun, I want to take the shotgun with me, but if I try to crawl through a narrow space, I have to put it on the floor. If I want to use a key, I have to throw the gun on the floor or the hammer on the floor, and that shit's just annoying. It really is. You're telling me that, he can't pull out a key and hold the weapon in the other hand and insert a key, turn the door, But that's something that they would have to completely rewrite the game's code. So that's not going to ever change. But it is annoying, in my opinion. And it slowed things down quite a lot. Because, again, you'd be in a firefight. You run out of bullets for the gun. You've got to lob the gun. Find another gun quickly. Even if it's the same one. You just can't pick up ammo for it, really. It doesn't work that way. But the whip mechanics are so good. Whipping an enemy's hand when he's holding onto something and then watching him in pain and agony it's done so incredibly well, and I have to give Bethesda I'm just good job, guys. I had so much fun in the game, and we got loads of clips out of it over on Twitch where I would just pick random items up throw them at the enemy. The noise effects were so on point when it hit them across the head, and then you run up and just box the shit out of them. That was probably the pinnacle part of the game there, where you could do stuff like that. You could pick up all sorts of melee weapons as well. There's so many, and just experiment with it all. The boxing did get a little bit tedious though, because the fist-to-fist fighting became very, very patterned. You could kind of predict a lot of the time, and counter punches, so you can get your punches in. But overall, I still had fun with it. Indiana Jones can increase his health, and he can increase his stamina via books that you can locate around the game. He acquires a camera at one point, which he can acquire more points. And the more documenting you do with the camera itself, the more books that you can then apply to your character, because you can't just find a book and that's it. You have to use your skill points to unlock the book fully, and that could be improved combat, that could be improved healing, improved health, like I said, or even stamina. So it's definitely well worth locating as many books as you can possibly find. Scattered around the game are also loads of documents that you can find. Most of the documents contain very, very important details about the story that you're playing in, and also codes for safes and combinations. So there's so much that you can do in this game. It's surreal. It really is. It's a breath of fresh air, because I was really worried knowing that Bethesda were making this game, that the game would come out and it'd be a colossal pile of shit or a buggy pile of shit. But the gameplay is fun. The gameplay is very fluid. The character doesn't feel super stiff at times. You know, you get a lot of freedom of movement itself, especially when you're whip swinging on poles and stuff to get from A to B. Yes, the climbing can be a little bit janky, but in games that, you know, have climbing mechanics in it, usually they are very, very janky itself. But yeah, it still was a pleasure to play through. It really, really, really was, and it took me, you know, by surprise for sure. Any game customization, unfortunately, there isn't that much customization that you can do in this game itself. There are outfits that Indiana Jones can wear, and that will aid him through the story itself. You could dress up to be, you know, a villager, so you can blend in, or you can dress up to be one of the guards, so the guards don't, you know, catch on that you're not Indiana Jones. You do have to be careful, because there are, you know, the lieutenants or the higher guards that will spot you in your disguise regardless. So it definitely does help. If you are looking for documents, or if you're looking to complete the level 100%, then running around in the enemy uniform usually helps you out so much more, because it takes a lot longer for them to recognize who you are. Story, if applicable, there is a story. No, I'm not going to say anything and spoil it though, but I loved probably about 95% of it. I did feel that the overall story just needed a bit more emotion in it, a bit more impact, because I really want to feel for the characters that I'm playing as, and I want to feel for the characters that are around me as well. But it is, again, if you're a fan of Tomb Raider or Uncharted, or even a fan of Indiana Jones himself, this is going to be a natural, oh hell yes. And I thought they did a really, really good job. I really do. It's just, again, just the ending that just got me just a little bit. Online co-op, not applicable. Stability, we did notice throughout the game itself. I mean, most of it was during the cutscenes itself, but you could see that the frames were dipping. The smoothness was a little bit jittery at times, and you could definitely see it. Again, probably something that they could easily just patch out, fix, and all good. Unless the console itself is being pushed too far, and, you know, maybe they have to downscale certain things. But it only happened on a rare occasion, to be fair, with all the cutscenes that are in the game. And I've got to say, the transition between gameplay and cutscenes was fucking phenomenal. It really is so good. Even when you load the game up and you continue your game file, when you load up the game and go to your menu, you're in the game already. And when you hit continue, it transitions from the main menu immediately into the game with no loading screens. Wow. The puzzles in this game are a breath of fresh air. They're very unique. They're not super difficult, to be fair. I did get the community to help me on the odd chance, because I'm not the smartest person alive. But we were able to figure out the majority of the puzzles ourselves, and there is a great variety as well. So you're not going to get bored doing the same shit all the time. The game actually encourages you to explore. It encourages you to go into, the darkest depths possible, find new puzzles, figure them out. Regardless of what you got to do, you could be sorting out pipes for water work. You could be moving things into a certain pattern. And from a Resi fan, I love puzzles. I do. So this was definitely my cup of tea in that sense. Microtransactions and DLC. One of my community members said that they are already working on DLC for Indiana Jones. I did, because it was on Game Pass. I had a extra skin for Indiana Jones, which was free, and an extra whip color. I turned my whip from brown to black. But yeah, the fact that I'm glad that they're working on DLC. I am very, very, very glad. Do I know if it's going to hit the Game Pass as well? I don't know. I don't know. So that's the usual template that we go through. In terms of the notes that we've written down, we ended the game at 38 over 45 achievements. It's a PEGI 16 game. The size of the game, I shit you not, the base game is about 90 gig, and the high texture pack is 45 gig. So you need just under 135 gig of disk space. The game is huge. The areas that you're exploring are massive. Absolutely huge. And is it 132 gigs worth? 100% it is, yes. The price of the base game is £70. The premium edition is 100. Publishers and developers, we've already talked about it. Bethesda Studios are the publishers, and the developers are Machine Games. The tech behind the game is 4K Ultra HD, running at 60 FPS and ray tracing. The modes are single player action adventure. The graphics we've already talked about. The fantastic voice acting we've already talked about. Flickering graphics we've already talked about. AI issue. Sometimes the AI gets in the way. Gina gets in the way all the fucking time. Please fix that, because that is annoying as shit. It truly, truly is annoying as shit. Bugged items and enemies falling through the floor. We had that a few times, to be fair. That's something again that they need to patch. We had items falling through the floor, and we've had a few enemies falling through the floor as well. The game soft locked on us. We've already talked about that. More collectibles would have been nice in terms of more outfits and more whip designs. That could have been an in-game thing that you could earn. Not able to pick up ammo, we've already talked about. Ending wasn't as epic as it could have been, already talked about. Yeah, everything else we've already talked about. So what it boils down to is the game worth 70 quid? And would I recommend it? Firstly, the game is not worth 70 quid. And I want to be very careful with how I'm saying this. That's too expensive. £70 for a video game is too much money. I'm sorry, but it is. I genuinely feel that the average price for a video game should never cross the £50 mark. But that's my honest opinion. That really is. So do I feel that this game is worth £70? It's too much. £50, 54.99, even 59.99. Yes, but £60, £70, and then you'll go, you know, give it half a year, the average price will be £80, then £90, then a fucking £100. It's a video game, for crying out loud. They shouldn't be that expensive. That's nuts for the basic edition of the game, you know. And then they want £100 for £100. You nuts. But that's just my opinion. I'm not gonna knock points off of the game. If it was, I don't know, 70 quid, it's 69. It's expensive, man. It is. But would I recommend this game to anyone? Hell yes. It's on Game Pass at the moment as well, so you please utilize that. Even if, do you know what? If you don't have Game Pass but you want to play this game, buy Game Pass for 1 month. 1 month. That's what? A tenner? And then you get to play Indiana Jones for a tenner. Well worth it. 100% well worth it. But yeah, I would highly recommend, especially if you are interested in those type of games. Again, Indiana Jones, Tomb Raider, or Uncharted Drake. I just think games, stop pushing it, you know, stop pushing yourself higher and higher and higher and higher. Scoring, I've already written it down. The soft lock in the game, which is a known thing, which people are complaining about, that is impacting the score. It is, because there should never be a soft lock or a hard lock in any video game. Though they are aware of it, though they are patching it, that's absolutely cool, but it's still in the base game. So that's impacting the score. The flickering textures, that not so much, you know, not a massive impact in the overall scoring as well. The audio effects that we heard, the reverb, the overusage of skins for the enemy, that you end up fighting the same enemies all the time. A little bit. I mean, I was very, very close to a 9. Very, 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 very close to a 9. And to be fair, it's the soft lock that really killed it for me. It really is, because that should never, ever be a thing. But because of how much fun I had in this game, it was amazing to play. I am happy awarding it a 9 out of 10. Easily. I do believe that Indiana Jones and the Great Circle deserves a 9 out of 10, and it is well worth the play. Let me know in the comments, do you think I'm being too harsh? Do you think 9 out of 10 is a good score for this game? Are you currently playing it, and do you feel exactly the same as I do? Let me know, please. But thank you so much for watching the YouTube video, and I'll see you in the new year. Have a great Christmas, Xmas, happy holidays, and all that jazz. And I'll see you in the new year. Take care. Bye-bye.